Hi, you're listening to Boggy Talk, Faith Conversations in the Mud, a resource of Church on Bayshore.
Hey, welcome to Boggy Talk. Hope you're doing well in this craziness of mid-December. I'm here with James Ross, lead pastor, Church on Bayshore, co-host of Boggy Talk. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I could tell that you are a little tired, which is our topic today.
Yeah.
By the fact that you didn't say like, hey and welcome to Boggy Talk.
What's up, everybody?
I don't think you ever say it like that.
I think it's just because this morning came from a Christmas party where there's food.
Yes.
So I'm like on a sugar crash,
Ooh,
like carbs.
breakfast Christmas party?
It was like,
Yikes.
it was good, great food with our Benevolent Center of Hope team.
Yeah.
But I think I'm also on that like, all right, my body's not used to eating that amount of carbs in the morning. So I'm on a little sugar
You know,
crash.
there are some days where, because I get up pretty early and, you know, I start my day at 5 o'clock and take the kids to school, then go to the gym, then do stuff, and we have meetings, and it's like 3 o'clock, and I'm like, you know, I'm pretty much done, guys. I'm sorry.
Brain dead,
So,
body's like, yep, give me dinner, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah. And then, I still have like 6 hours of stuff to do. So,
Yeah. It never stops.
It's a lot of stuff.
Until we tell it to stop because we're done. Well, hey, that's kind of what we're talking about.
You're getting ahead of the game there, Justin.
That's what we're talking about today in the middle of December.
It's the most exhausting time of the
year.
year.
That's right. It's the most exhausting time of the year. It's funny because every time I hear that song, it's the most wonderful time of the year. I go back to, so I grew up in the I grew up in the church era of youth choirs, and our youth choir went on like a tour at Christmas, and we had straight up like choreography with presents singing. It's the most, it was like show choir youth choir. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
So
I've seen Opus at several Christmas parties. If you know what that
very
Opus
much
is.
like that. Yeah.
I was like,
amazing.
I'm like, Justin would be an Opus.
Opus is way better than my youth choir.
Okay, I
was.
bet.
I'm sure we were good as a,
but
First
you would
Baptist
be
youth
great
choir.
in Opus.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you'd be really old now.
Yeah,
but, those who don't know what Opus is, it's like the
top choir,
choir at Niceville,
and
they sing a lot over Christmas.
And they do, and they're wonderful, and they work hard, and they're great. But yes, I would have eaten that up as a high school student. But those days, that ship has sailed. So
a long time ago, right. Pastor Justin.
Yeah, a long time ago. So we are talking about this time of year is wonderful, and there's so much expectation. There's so many things to do. There's parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow.
Nice.
Scary ghost stories, which I don't understand why that's part of Christmas, and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago, which ultimately can
That's impressive.
Because I'm doing the choreography in my head.
Okay.
But
do
also,
wait. Marshmallows for roasting? Like, is that a Christmas thing?
And scary ghost stories. I don't know. I guess so. I guess in Florida it is because this is like great.
Does it say scary ghost stories in that song?
Yeah, scary ghost stories and tales of glories of Christmases long, long ago.
Weird.
I don't know. It is weird. Christmas songs are straight up weird sometimes.
We're having a deconstruction moment right here.
I feel like Christmas is a lie now.
Yeah.
It's not a lie. Just kidding. But all these things add up to be.
I gotta research that.
Yeah, it really is. I'm not making those. I do make up lyrics sometimes, but those not made up. So I don't know why. Probably should figure that out. But
you just make up lyrics whenever you sing Bethel songs. No, that's make up scripture. Sorry, that's make up scripture. Okay, sorry. Okay. Anyway, back to the craziness of
Speaking of exhausting,
being a co-host with James Ross and trying to stay on track.
Why is this what should be? What in our minds is this magical, wonderful time of year end up being so hectic and busy? Why do we do this to ourselves? I've been thinking about that this week because last year at this time, I remember being like tired, overwhelmed, and stressed.
Sorry.
I really was kind of like, and I was like, I'm not going to be that way this year. And it's really been fine up until this week. And then this week I'm like, there's so much. I'm like, okay, I got to pause. What's going on? And it comes back to it's busyness. So let's talk through why are not just we, but we collectively so busy.
Yeah, it's not just Christmas though, but Christmas time, I think it's like all the other stuff is still going.
Yes. And then we add all this other stuff.
And then we add all this other stuff, and we're eating like trash. And
a second breakfast.
Yeah.
And a third breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, and you brought food in today too.
And I think we're like trying to get a lot done before the year's over so that we can have like a break and we feel that pressure, right? Like
absolutely. Trying to get ahead, trying to catch up, trying to get ahead, and then adding new things on top of things that are still continuing.
And I feel like for me, some of my job is like getting things out there for people to do their jobs because they can do their job better if they know what I'm thinking. And so like I feel like the crunch of getting all that done now, you know, so that when you return to the office on January 3rd, you are like,
oh, here we go. Let's roll.
Start thinking about some things for the first time in a long time.
Like, oh,
this
is where my desk is.
Yeah, that's right. But if I don't like, you know, send you guys stuff, then otherwise. So yeah, but I think in general, I think, you know, the issue is like, we're in an epidemic of people feeling exhausted from busyness. And I think it's a lot of different things. I think that expectation is a problem when we put expectations on ourselves that aren't imposed by God. And we're trying to do them to meet people's expectations that are unrealistic. That's a challenge. And then I also think unwinding is not easy anymore.
It is not easy anymore because even when we do have a moment of stillness or quiet, I mean, we are now at this stage of life with phones, like we are just to like impulsively like, I need to look at something on my phone. And it's like our minds don't get true rest. Our bodies aren't getting true rest because then when we are still, we think, well, what's everybody else doing? And what am I missing out on? And how is everybody else's life so much more magical than mine? And we start comparing. I think part of it too goes back to, we talked about this a few weeks ago. We're magical. This magical life, you know, everything seems so magical.
I like that you're just looking at my Instagram, which is virtually non-existent. Like James's life is so much more magical in this way.
That's right.
I need to be as magical as him.
I want to be as magical as James. Has anybody ever described you as magical?
No.
But we're in a hurry, we're busy. And I go back to, you know, like, why do we feel the need to do this? And I think we said this a few weeks ago, we're afraid to be still. Afraid that we're confronted with like what we're trying to compensate for this feeling. And I think we don't have to convince people that they feel busy because I think people feel busy. I think what we do need to address is why and what's in our control. You know, there are some things that fall on our plates, whether it's family, whether it's work that are a little bit outside of our control. But what is inside our control is how we respond to those things. But then there are things that we are stressing ourselves out by saying yes to things because we don't have clear boundaries. And so how do we really try, make effort to not feel so overwhelmed and be so busy during this time?
Can I say the two real problems with this? Because it's like, who really cares, right? Like the two problems with being so busy. Number one is longevity. So ultimately, if you're running at a pace, you can't keep going. Like, you know, so think about life as a marathon. And if you're sprinting, you're not going to be able to keep going. So you got to figure that out. And then the second would be that, you know, if you're stretched too thin, then you're not present enough in the situations. And so the quantity gets in the way of quality. So I think that's the two things. So what do we do, I guess, you know, well, I would say, you know, it is good that there's a tension there because if you're not feeling any busyness, you're probably not doing the things you should be doing for the Lord as a believer. And I do think this is heightened among Christians because there's an extra amount of space to church and church things that, you know, get in there. So I would just say if you feel balanced, you're probably out of whack.
If you're not, if you feel like you just got it all under control, something may not be going well.
So I just think, you know, simplifying this, priorities are the key. And so I'll just kind of list those priorities and maybe chime in, not in any particular order, but I do think physical health is incredibly valuable because it enables you to handle busyness.
Right. And so we're talking about getting the rest you need, but also being active, you know, and exercising.
Eating healthy.
Yeah, eating healthy. Like it doesn't mean you don't eat some great, delicious, terrible for you stuff, but that's not all you eat, you know, during this time. And I think one of the things we understand a little bit more now, but is how much the physical impacts, how everything's tied together, how what you do physically does impact you and these other ways we're going to talk about. But really, like, take care of yourself. Do get rest. You know, put the phone down, turn the TV off, go to sleep, get up, go whatever you need to do to be active is incredibly important, because I think that's one of the first things we usually starts to sacrifice in these times of being overwhelmed, is we think we can continue to operate without rest, without activity. And you can for a short amount of time, but eventually it does catch up to you.
I mean, we know that like a professional athlete, if he's a little heavy, like it's harder to perform, but same with us. Like if we're a little heavy, and I mean, I am a little heavy, but degrees of that, like, I mean, the heavier we are, more overweight we are. So that's how I should say that. The harder it is to make it through our day. And so, I mean, we got to acknowledge this, and so exercise is important. And then also emotional health, and I would just say, we need people in our life who pour into us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We need people. We're designed that way, and we need people who pour into us, and then we, as a response to that, should be giving ourselves away as well.
Yeah. But if we're giving ourselves away all the time
and not
being poured into by others, that's not healthy.
Then it's dangerous, because then you do feel burned out and you get mad at people. And then when people do have legitimate needs, they come to you and you have nothing to give, and you treat them as a burden rather than their burden as a burden. And so it's just,
well, that's good.
Ooh, that's a little poetic, good, like we just have to you got to have some boundaries there. Emotionally, I think boundaries are huge. You have to be able to have something to give.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, I mean, and I would say with this, like, don't try to base it off of like what you see the girls doing on Instagram. Just have people. It doesn't have to look like, don't have expectations for it. Just have people who pour into you. And then, because we do idolize community.
Oh yeah. We're like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
then there's also intellectual health.
Yeah.
Just keeping our mind sharp.
Yep.
I think you have, this is a challenge, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't like to read. I don't like, what does challenge you intellectually? Whether it's reading or crosswords, I don't know what else you do. But
Did you say crossword puzzles?
Yeah, that challenges you. But I mean, read. We should be people who read. And if you don't like to read, listen.
Sudoku.
Yeah.
How's it?
I mean, how? Yeah. I don't even know how to say
Mahjong,
Sudoku,
bridge, Taipei.
Something, dominoes, checkers, chess.
Yeah.
But I think if you don't like to read, listen. Because everyone can listen. Wow, we live at a day and age where it's so easy to read because we can listen.
It's filling you up
and just have your mind sharpened, challenged. Read things that challenge the way you think, whether it's a book on, nonfiction, if it's a leadership book, or a book on, something related to the Bible, or even just some good fiction can challenge you in how you, see the world and experience the world.
Yeah, ever since I started reading Harry Potter, I see the world differently.
Yeah, and I was after you finished the full Left Behind series for the third time.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, we've been tracking the reading plan in our life group, and we've gone through Revelation, and we have referenced those a lot as not a great guide to Revelation. So,
and then spiritual health, of course.
Yes, do it.
Yeah, I mean, in the Word.
Yes, in the Word more, and then in the Word,
worship.
Yes, having quiet. I think that's this goes back to the rest, like the spiritual rest, just having time to be quiet before the Lord, in prayer, meditation on Scripture. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and he was talking about rest. He's like, so we're actually going to just have 30 seconds of quiet. Don't
Did
pause.
You fast forward it?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
and I was driving, so it wasn't super quiet, but it was like, I found myself even in just 30 seconds of just quiet, like intentionally thinking, I'm not going to think about something else. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just focused on the Lord. It was wonderful.
Boggy Talk listeners do not understand what 30 seconds of quiet means, but we're going to give it to them. Ready? We're going to do it. Ready? Go.
I can't do this. It's so weird. It's so awkward. It's so awkward.
And people are watching us. There's people
it's
watching
so
us.
awkward with someone else. Okay. In the room.
So we need to practice what we preach.
So just at the end of this, you can recover.
Yes, that's right.
By having 30 seconds of, but really just taking time to
rest,
chill. The Word saturate your mind, your heart. Let it, move from your mind into your heart, and so that we live out Scripture. Yeah, that's key.
So what I'm hearing is the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah, be prepared.
Yeah.
We talked about in our life group actually in Revelation. John records, this is a call for the endurance of the saints. This is a call for the endurance of the saints, and how we think of endurance we think of endurance as like, I'm in the midst of something, I just have to keep going. And that is a piece of it.
Yeah.
But we also have someone in our life group who like does competitive like Ironman and triathlon. So I asked him, I said, no, you can't do that if you haven't prepared. So a piece of endurance is the preparation for endurance. And so I asked him to talk about, his regimen and, like to prepare to endure, like he's going to bike 100 miles a day, like on a stationary bike to condition himself. And I think that's what we know inevitably. There are times in our lives when things are going to be hard. Things are going to be difficult. We're going to be tested. Our faith is going to be tested. Just no matter the circumstances. And we are called to endure, and we cannot endure if we haven't trained for endure. We cannot endure well if we have not endured and prepared to endure. So prepare to endure.
And I know we're trying to wrap this up, but I would just say, we emphasize like the basics of Christianity, the discipleship essentials at our church. And that's why we do this, because what we're trying to say in that is we're trying to say, worship, grow, serve, give, reach. Like in your life, you have to choose like, what are the things that are priority to me? And so as a believer, like being someone who worships Jesus and then gathers with your life and then gathers together for corporate worship, someone who's growing in the word and is growing with other believers, someone who says, hey, I know I'm a servant and I need to serve others and serve my church, and someone who's generous, and then someone who's trying to share the gospel. Like, I think if you put those things as a priority and kind of submit everything else to that, it will be amazing to see how, putting God first really gives you the wisdom, the ability to handle all the things life throws at you.
And I think that comes from really like all that is kind of the culmination of like when you experience life as God's designed it. Like these essentials are kind of how we frame it, worshiping, is, growing, like the rest that comes from the whole, like being like aligned with like the purposes and plan of God, the Holy Spirit. I mean, you can be at rest, but be fully active.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And I think that rest comes when we are just like, this is what I'm made for, like that he does that in us. And I think that's kind of what we're hitting at. Like, like God created us to know him, to enjoy him forever. And we don't have to wait for heaven for that. And how do we do that here on earth? To see his kingdom come, his will be done. We submit our lives to him. We say, Lord, you are Lord of every piece of it. Help me to honor you. And then he gives us rest.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, I guess so.
Thank you. Also embrace the seasons. Like sometimes life is slower, and don't be like, oh, life is too slow right now when it's about to ramp back up.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's kind of like, you think about a long run, if there's hills in the run, like, hey, you're going to kind of coast a little bit, and you might be like, well, I need to pick up the pace. It's like, but a hill's about to come. So stay steady at that pace, you know, like, and I would just say, embrace the seasons and know, like, when a season's tough, like, is there an end in sight? I think when there's not an end in sight, that probably is time to say, okay, we got to readjust something here.
Yeah. So, absolutely. Anyway. Well, hey, this is going to take us into some questions. And the first question is really, I think, very much tied to what we've been talking about. The first question is this: how do I say yes and no to any time, but specifically this time of year? It's pretty hard to say yes, no. I'm just kidding. That is a great question, and I can approach it from I think all of us have an easier or more difficult time with this based on our personalities. And I'm like middle child, so it's sometimes hard for me to say no, but I think this comes back to having boundaries, like prioritizing what's most important. And ultimately, you have to make those decisions. And if you don't, you will end up burned out. You will feel like you have to please everyone. And you have to rest in the fact that you can't make everyone happy. You can't do everything for everyone. You can only be faithful with what God's entrusted you with and roll with that. I think this time of year, it's especially hard because we feel the pressure to be everywhere and a part of everything. And you just have to say, you know what? I have limits. And if I push past what I know I can do, I'm going to get whacked out. I'm going to be out of balance. I'm going to be cranky and be tired. My heart isn't going to be right. We just have to learn to do it. It's hard to learn that.
Yeah, I think a few things here. I think no KNOW, whether you're a no person or a yes person, because there are yes people who are like, yeah, I'll do all the things. And there are people who are like, I don't want to do any of the things. And so you need to lean in to the other way. And then, if the Lord has given you a spouse who is the opposite, that's a blessing to just kind of navigate it. If you're the same, then you probably need some other people to kind of give you some wisdom there and help. I think also something to realize, one time, Christy and I were talking about stuff, and I was almost like frustrated because I felt like she's not as strong as I am and being able to do all these things. And finally she was like, okay, which, obviously she has strengths I don't have, but she's like, okay, fine. I'm not, I can't go at the pace you go at. Like, what are you going to do? Like, and it's like, yeah, you're right. That's a great point. Like, I was feeling superior because I could go at this pace and she couldn't. And it's like, I can't, so like, are you going to keep going at that pace and me not be with you? Or, like, not like divorce, but, and I'm like, that's a great point. And so I think it's kind of that recognition of who the people are in our lives. Cause I do think sometimes the tension is we're pulling our family with us at a pace that they can't keep up with, especially if we have kids, young kids, they can't keep up.
No, they can't. And then then they melt down when we're somewhere and then we get mad at them. And it's like, well, actually they're doing this because they're exhausted.
That's a lot of issues with teenagers today.
Yes,
honestly,
I agree. They just need, and we have had that conversation with our oldest, who's who gets it honestly. He's a social guy. He wants to be with his friends. We're like, hey, you got to think through. Hey, you got to say no to some things so you can say yes to the best things. Because if you don't rest, like as parents. Like you're going to give your best as a teen. Like you give your best to your friends. You're not going to be a jerk to them. Like you're going to come home and I do this the same. So it's not him with the character thing. It's just like we give our worst sometimes to the people closest to us. And not that we should give our worst to anyone, but we need to not do that. And we do that with boundaries. I think, like you said, know your default and lean into the opposite. And if you really struggle with this, like talk to someone about it. And I think one thing that has been really helpful for us is that, this year we synced up calendars, Google calendars, and we see everything. And so like I can look at the calendar before someone even asked me, so I can look at the calendar and see what Christy has going on, what our kids have going on, and be like, I don't think this is going to work. And vice versa. And I think too, I mentioned this last week, like we tried to, even for this time of year, like ask our kids what's important to you, what's most important to you. And let's go ahead and put that on the calendar so that we don't say yes to all the things that everybody else needs from us without saying yes to these. And these are things that are like, don't take a lot of time. Yeah. Like, hey, it's really important that one night we go ride in the van and drink hot chocolate and watch lights. Okay, let's do it. And let's make sure we're doing it. Not, it's tomorrow's Christmas and we didn't do that.
It's weird that I get in the van with you guys, but
Because Christy's like, I can't do it.
Yeah. So I ride around with you guys and sing in the back. But that's well put. I would also just say like, I think reflecting is always good because that's kind of how you're going to make those mental notes or even physical notes to not do the same thing again the next year. Like, oh, that was too much. And you got to remember that and not put yourself in that same situation, and you just really have to know, like, at that point, your limit. So we do Christmas Eve here. I mean, they don't say this anymore, but I know our parents wanted us to come to like their place for Christmas. We just can't. We're not going to do it. We do Christmas Eve. It's a priority in my job. I mean, it's like Easter's the Super Bowl. This is our second Super Bowl. I don't know what that would be. Kickoff day. I don't know.
It's the World Cup.
Yeah. There you go. Anyway, so like, I'm done at 7 or whatever. And we're not driving that night. We're not going the next morning. And so, we love you. Like,
yeah, it just changes.
There's some
things.
Sentimentality that's different. Our family chooses to come here, but I know that's more of a ministry specific thing, which some of you are in that, but others like, you just have to say this is a part of our life and it's all good is what it is. Yeah. If you want specific scenario advice, we're available.
Absolutely. We're happy to talk through stuff or say, hey, you should talk to this person about this because they'll give you even better insight.
True. That's true. We'll probably do that.
Yeah. So what do I say? Next question. What do I say
laughing at this question
when someone says happy holidays? Yeah.
What do I say when someone says Happy
Merry
Holidays?
Christmas. That's what you say. I heard you the other day say that. Just kidding. But I think you just say.
I think I said that
too. You know, I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. I mean, I might say Merry Christmas. I don't know. I don't like think about it.
Yeah. Maybe it's our generation. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's not offensive to me because there's a lot of holidays, and I think it's just. There's Christmas and there's New Year's, and then we're kind of in between Thanksgiving.
This person is not going to give their life to Jesus by me making the distinction. And Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just
like making sure you know.
And I think what happens is that some people are like, they'll say that and be like, "I shared the gospel." You're like,
I did share Christ.
Yeah,
I said Merry Christmas.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, what do you say? Whatever you say it with so much love and grace. You know, like whether just say thank you. You too. Happy holidays to you.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Yeah.
I hope you have a great holiday too.
Make my food faster.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else to add to that? I don't want to dismiss it, but also because it's legit. I think people feel pressure, but just be genuine and kind. That's what we can do.
Yeah, I would say that person probably wouldn't say anything otherwise. So it's not like they're replacing Christmas with Happy Holidays. They're just, saying Happy Holiday. I'm like, so they're wishing you like good. Like, why are you so chill out?
And so, and honestly, if you're at the checkout and they say that, they've probably been told by the store manager, this is what they have to say, which came from court, so like just.
Yeah. Be mad at them. Stick it to the man, not the girl cashing.
Get on,
not
get
the
online.
16-year-old. It's,
I know. Get online and write an
scanning
email.
your spam and
your spam because everyone
and
buys
your
that.
seltzers, your spam and your seltzers.
Spam seltzers.
Okay, we got time for one
right.
more or no?
I have no idea how long we've been going. So, all right. So
it was 11 seconds longer than normal because we did the 11-second, 30-second pause.
I think let's save this question for next time because I think it's a little longer question. So, all right, we're gonna move on to the game. So I thought it'd be funny to.
Do you stress out about gift giving?
I'm in our family of Christy and I, and she would agree with this, like she's really good at the like, hey, we're doing this as a family together, like the things that we like, the activities. She's good at remembering stuff like that. And I'm more of like, oh, this is a cool gift. And then she would admit that. I like it, but also
are random Amazon packages just showing up at your house and Christy's like,
don't open that one. Don't open that one.
Yeah.
Well, they're all marked for people, like we've got the, kids we got to buy for. So I thought it would be funny. Do you wrap
them or leave them in the Amazon packages?
We wrap them.
I'm just teasing.
We do. We do take that step.
Is Christy is a procrastinator? Just she's gonna put things off, and so like I want like all the presents under the tree wrapped as like decoration, which our kids would probably get. Our 4-year-old would get into anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why aren't they as decoration? But they're like boxes in our room.
That ship sailed a long time for us. We're like usually Christmas, like Eve finishing up, and also this year we have a dog, so it's like just pointless to wrap anything. So anyway, I thought it would be funny.
Okay, sorry.
To look back at the Christmas.
You're like, let me play the game.
It's a game.
Let me do the game.
So I've got the number one toys of Christmas past. And I'm going to give a somewhat vague description, and I'll also give you the year.
Thank you. The year will
some
help.
of these are old, like
number one.
But you're going to be surprised at like how old some of these are.
Okay.
So number one toy, Christmas toy of the year, 1920. All right,
Slinky.
Originally a book character. This doll was created by a political cartoonist named Johnny Gruelle. By 1920, 2 signature handmade dolls,
Cabbage Patch doll,
were sold alongside the book. It's a brother and sister.
Jack and Jill?
No.
Brother and sister dolls.
Raggedy Ann.
Oh,
Raggedy Ann
wow.
Andes.
I forgot she even existed.
Thank you. That's
Andy. Raggedy Andy?
Raggedy Ann and Andy.
There was a Raggedy Andy?
That's the boy.
I did not know that.
Look at 1920 being progressive. All right. Had a boy and a girl doll.
Yeah. If it was progressive, it just had a girl doll.
That's true. All right.
Or,
oh, gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. All right. So moving up just a year, 1921. John Lloyd Wright, son of the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright.
I was going to say.
Invented these after noticing a foundation of interlocking beams on a Tokyo hotel that his father had designed.
Legos?
You're on the right track. It's not
Connect
clear
or whatever.
It's not clear whether the name of this toy was named
Jenga.
by a famous president Or
Lincoln Logs.
There you go.
Lincoln Logs.
Or
there you
Wright's
go.
original
There you
name.
go.
Yeah, Lincoln Logs.
Good.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Isn't that crazy? The Lincoln Logs are
101 years old.
Man, they missed out on an opportunity to celebrate their 100th anniversary last year. Because I don't remember seeing that, but I also wasn't looking. So, all right. Moving up, 1925. All right. This idea was actually inspired by a former political leader. It began when
Nazi.
it began with a political cartoonist depicted this leader who actually refused to shoot a black bear that had been tied to a tree by his expedition team.
Okay.
Upon seeing the cartoon, a candy shop owner made stuffed animals with his wife, created this animal, and named it after this famous incident.
Teddy bear.
Yeah, Teddy bear, named after Teddy Roosevelt,
Got
who
it, yeah.
couldn't kill a bear.
Oh, wow.
All right,
I
that's
did not know that.
1925.
I did not know all that.
I figured teddy bears were a lot older than
Yeah, me
that,
too.
But,
Me too.
I mean, it makes sense. They're named after Teddy Roosevelt. All right.
They were just bears before them.
All right, so
Stuffed
here we
bears.
go. Moving up to 1937.
It's a big jump.
Got to turn the page here. Okay. The world's first, I got to rephrase this. The world's most famous board game.
Monopoly.
Yeah, it almost didn't come to be. According to legend, Parker Brothers first passed on Monopoly when it was pitched to them by creator Charles Darrow. Probably because it was 1937 and they were just come out of the Depression.
Everybody's
like,
broke.
Can't afford this.
Yeah, Boardwalk was like $3.
All right, so this is moving on up.
Have the values of that went up over time on Monopoly?
I bet. I mean, I don't know.
The Boardwalk's like $1.2 million.
I was about to say,
like,
growing up, it was like $400.
Park
so now
Place,
it's better.
yeah.
All right, so now we're
I
moving
can't
up.
even afford to live in Marvin Gardens.
What was the first one?
Atlantic Avenue?
Yeah, the Baltic Avenue. You're like,
Baltic
man.
sounds like a place you don't want to be, right?
That's my neighborhood right there. All right. So, okay. I did not realize that this was this old. 1949. All right.
Whoopee cushion.
This is not going to be hard to get, I don't think, because it's hard to make it was developed during World War II by a British solicitor. This board game is all about whodunit.
Clue?
Clue.
Oh, wow.
1949. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can believe
I just
that.
kind of thought it was like made in the 80s, like when we started playing.
Miss Scarlett just looks good for her age.
Yeah, I guess so. So here's what's crazy about Clue. When it first came out in 1949, it sold for $3.
That's pricey back then,
That's the equivalent to $37 now.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot for a board game. That's crazy.
I don't know. You been to Target?
Well, things are expensive. So,
And it's like the most obscure games you'll play for like 3 times, You're
like, done. All right, so 1952.
They sell cards. It's like the game is just cards and it's like $40.
That's right. So 1952, hoping to get kids to eat the foods they didn't like, inventor George Lerner developed a toy out of a vegetable. The rest is
Cabbage
history.
Patch Dolls?
No.
A toy out of a vegetable?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mr. Potato Head. But it's not a vegetable.
It's
It's a starch.
And what's interesting about Mr. Potato Head is that the face parts were initially, that sounds terrible, were initially included as bonus toys in boxes of cereal.
That's what you told Christy whenever you first started. I like your face parts.
I like your face parts. That's terrible. Okay, this toy that debuted in 1967 originally retailed at $10.
What if that was the only clue you gave me? Okay, sorry.
1967.
Okay,
Get it?
$10.
All right. This toy comprised of a grid covered by paper is used by poking holes.
Light Bright.
Yeah, Light
Yeah.
Bright.
Wow, that's that
Light
old?
Bright. Yeah, I know, 67.
Yeah, I know, man.
$10. So that
I had a Light
means-
Bright. Did you have a Light Bright?
I had a Light Bright.
I think I've had everything you've listed except for Raggedy Ann.
These things have longevity. They make
Andy.
toys these
Yeah.
are still things that kids play with now.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing about a Light Bright, $10 in 1967 is now $90 for a Light Bright.
Man.
That's how much it would be now. Now, don't tell them, but I just bought Joanna and Ezra a Light Bright for Christmas, and it was $9 on some Black Friday deals. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of like the iPad of their day.
I guess so. I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's fun. 1970.
Those little pieces though, get lost.
And you step on them. And
they're not Legos, but they still.
The one thing about Light Bright was like once you used the paper, it was done. It wasn't quite as exciting to like make it anymore. Because it had all the holes. So, all right, 1972.
It's not that bright. Like
it could be better. Light Bright, get your act together.
Yeah. That's why it's only $9. See, had you been a little more proactive and like advancing your technology, you'd be selling that thing for $90.
That's right. You could have, but you missed out.
You needed Steve Jobs as your CEO.
That's right. To show people what's possible. All right. 1972, Merle Robbins invented Merle Robbins. Isn't that a great name of an old man in the 70s? Merle Robbins.
Was he old?
I'm assuming.
Oh, okay. He eventually was old, but he might not have been old.
I'm assuming he was old. I don't know. I just think of I don't know. Yeah.
He was born like Benjamin Button. Like
all right. So Merle Robbins, a barbershop. I can't even say that name well. Merle Robbins owned a barbershop and he loved cards. So he invented this game that he originally sold out of his barbershop. Robbins then licensed the rights in 1972 to a funeral parlor owner in Illinois who took this game onto the national stage with spectacular success, almost as spectacular as the colors of the cards.
Candyland?
Nope.
Uno?
Card game. Uno, there you go.
Wow.
Nice.
Well,
yeah.
That kind of didn't get the connection there.
Yeah, Uno. Isn't that crazy?
origins.
Started as a game guy made up in his barbershop. So,
And are the colors really that spectacular?
I mean,
Are these your words or the words?
Well, it
other
said
people?
spectacular success.
Okay.
So on the fly, I was like, I need to drop
okay.
another hint about the
Yeah.
cards because there
Okay.
weren't any like specifics. So I did come up with the
Man, they got all
spectacular-
kinds of versions of Uno now.
There's like Uno slap, Uno dare, Uno.
Is that when you slap somebody?
You just slap
They get
people,
Uno? Okay.
and then we play spicy Uno because Alec and Lucas taught us how to play because they're it's like how their generation plays Uno.
Yeah,
So I
I've
taught our
played
kids. and it's
spicy
fun.
Uno.
I like spicy Uno.
Yeah.
Also, we played a few weeks ago with Michael, Alec, and Lucas, and I played because we were at the Florida Baptist Convention. So we played one night, and I won all 3 rounds. Just saying, little competitive. All right, in 1978. All right, these toys are now the standard by which all other toy success and toy franchises are measured. Based on a movie that was successful in 1977,
He-Man.
they caught every industry by surprise.
Star Wars figures,
Star
yeah.
Wars.
Mhm.
Star Wars. To account for the sudden demand of merchandise, toy company Kenner hastily released a series of puzzles and games. However, as soon as the 3.75-inch action figures of Luke, R2-D2, Chewbacca, and Princess Leia hit the shelves, they were gone. They became as popular, if not more popular, than the movie itself. So,
Have you ever seen The Toys That Made Us documentary?
No, but it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, you should watch it.
So these were $3 when they came out, which is not. I looked this up, and I didn't write this one down, but I want to say like with inflation, that's like $30-something now. So that's a lot for an action figure. So
you're really depressing me about the state of the American economy.
I know. I would be saying if these were today's prices of stuff, my kids would get an orange in their stocking. So
like, sorry, we're not everybody else.
All right. So I'm moving on up. 1982. This is the first.
You know what happened in 1982?
You were born,
I was
and that's
born.
why I selected this.
Okay, thank you.
I made sure to conclude 1982.
And E.T. came out.
That's right. Phone home.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what E.T.
That
phone
sounds
home.
like Merle Robbins
Yeah,
saying phone home when he was like in his 80s.
Phone home. You buy my Uno cards.
This game's kind of going on
man.
long.
Off the rails.
People
All right.
are gone. We've lost
All right,
people, but it's
I
okay.
think people. All right,
It's
here we
okay.
go.
This is
So,
our therapy.
This is the first mass-marketed toy for girls that gave Barbie a literal run for her money. Coming in
Like
a
she
range,
started running?
coming
You
in
said
a
literal.
range of small, tiny
Polly
plastic
Pocket.
figurines with long, bright, groomable hair. Each
Trolls.
animal.
Trolls.
Each animal.
Oh yeah, My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
Yeah.
Do you know what the term is for grown men who are into My Little Pony?
Oh, I've seen this. I can't remember what it is.
Bronies.
Bronies. That's
It's a
ridiculous.
thing.
Is that really?
I met a
thing?
brony. I met a brony.
Like legit. Like he wasn't
like-
just doing it for attention.
Yeah, he was a part of a church in Tallahassee. He was a brony. Yeah.
Man. Oh man. That's
Weird, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's doing that for attention, but yeah.
All right. So, all right. 1983. One more year.
Little Pony.
Not to be outdone with My Little Pony. These dolls took the world by storm after
Trolls.
appearing on a TV show called Real People in 1980. The storm.
Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Yes,
Yes.
Cabbage Patch. This Cabbage Patch dolls are what are kind of known to be the first major toy that caused like the Black Friday Christmas shopping
okay.
stampedes and people fighting
Yeah.
and knocking each other over. All right, so we're gonna go quickly here. 1986. after the Atari craze had faded a little bit by the mid. Yes, Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Man, Nintendo 1986. I remember we got that for Christmas and I thought we are amazing.
I got the Super Nintendo for Christmas a couple years later.
Man, 91, we got Mario Brothers. Mm-hmm. All right. So moving to 1996, Tyco Toys.
Jumped quickly.
Yeah. So Tyco Toys.
Did you skip Furby?
No, I didn't skip Furby.
Oh, okay.
It's coming.
Okay. All right. Did you skip Tickle Me Elmo?
No.
Okay.
That's what this one is. You already answered. 1996.
In 96, it was that late?
1996.
I thought it was much younger.
Tickle Me Elmo.
Okay.
All right. 1998 is Furby since you ruined that. So if you don't know what Furby is.
Furbies were like going for like $250 when they weren't that expensive.
So this is funny. This topic of Furbies came up at the breakfast thing I was just at, and I told this story. So we were in college, and one of my friends was dating a girl who was a great girl. And she gave,
you were in college then? You're old.
I'm old. She gave him a Furby for Christmas. And we were like, dude, she gave you a Furby. Like, that just means she's like ready to get married and just have babies. Like and it was. And so like a week later, he broke up with her. It's I can't do this. I'm not ready for this commitment. We're like, that's a sign. So Furby, be careful with your Christmas gifts,
I remember
guys,
people fighting over Tickle Me Elmo and Furby.
And then, let's see. I think that was it. Okay, and then we're going to close off with this one because I have a feeling that you and Christy had to endure trying to find these in 2014. This cold toy might have you saying, let it go, but audiences everywhere clung feverishly to these toys to give their daughter
some kind of Frozen toy.
Yes, Frozen dolls.
So Lily, 2014, Lily was not. Yeah, she was like 2 or 3.
Oh, okay. So she didn't care enough.
Yeah, was that 2014?
2014
came out?
2013 it came out.
Wow.
2014. The toys
I don't feel like there has been like back in the day, Tickle Me Elmo, Furby. Like every year there was something.
Because there's so many options now. Like there's so many cartoons, there's so many toys. And
so there's not a big.
I don't know.
How come you didn't mention Teddy Ruxpin?
Oh,
remember Teddy
those? Those were kind of a little creepy.
So creepy.
Those were so creepy. 2020, it was the baby Grogu, the baby Yoda, people call him, but it's actually Grogu.
Yeah.
2020, like that was a big deal.
Yeah.
But really, there's not like an it toy, like just one. Now there's lots of it toys.
People were selling out of PlayStations one time.
It's crazy. So I hope that your Christmas shopping goes a lot better than trying to find some of these toys.
I did pretty
back
good.
in the day. You did. I mean, these are fun. It's kind of funny. Like to think that some of these toys are like 100 years old and people still playing with them. Lincoln Logs.
Yeah.
There's several others that I left out, but Tinker Toys came out in like 1923.
People still play with those?
I guess so.
Oh, okay.
Tinker Toys. That's from I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas.
Oh, okay. Tinker Toy. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
What a song.
Yeah.
I don't want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Speaking of songs, next week, our game is going to be Christmas Name That Tune. So.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah. Can't wait. So hopefully I'll do as well as you did guessing toys. So, hey, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Boggy Talk. We are so glad you joined in the conversation. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a beat.